We have a psychological glitch hardwired into our brains called pareidolia. If you stare at a chaotic, shifting sky long enough, your mind will eventually force those random puffs of water vapor into recognizable shapes: an animal, a face, a castle. Psychologists designed a specific tool to exploit this tendency, the Rorschach test. The test relies on the fact that the image itself contains zero actual information. It is completely ambiguous. Any shape or meaning you see in it is entirely a projection of your own internal mind and ego. This same tendency to project personal meaning onto formless space defines how we traditionally approach the search for spiritual truth. This is a page from the Bhagavad Gita. For centuries, Krishna's text has served as a spiritual inkblot. Because of its poetic, diplomatic design, different sects isolate specific passages to validate entirely contradictory, pre-existing beliefs. Even world leaders utilize this poetic ambiguity, finding what they need within its verses to justify their worldly political actions. But the Ashtavakra Gita is a narrative disruptor. It contains no poetry and offers no comfort. Ashtavakra does not write like a philosopher. He writes like a pure mathematician. He presents reality with the rigid, uncompromising logic of an equation. History largely ignores Ashtavakra's text precisely because of this mathematical purity. It is an unyielding wall of facts that refuses to let the human ego project its own desires onto it. Krishna operates as a diplomat. A diplomat's primary objective is to unite a fractured society and coordinate different types of people, even if the absolute truth must be adjusted for the sake of harmony. However, blending different philosophies to make them palatable to the masses has a cost. The truth becomes inherently diluted to suit the listener. Ashtavakra offers a different environment, a perfectly clear sky without a single cloud. In this space, visual projection becomes impossible. Entering that clear sky requires you to abandon your identity and your biases at the door. If a truth is mathematically pure and totally objective, there is simply no space for personal interpretation to survive. To grasp this level of philosophical rigor, we have to look at the relationship between a seed and a flower. A skeptic examines a dormant seed and denies its capacity to become a vibrant flower. Based on surface evidence, it seems impossible. The seeker looks backward from the fully bloomed flower, realizing the complete potential was locked inside that shell from the start. Ashtavakra applies this logic to human realization. He argues that attaining truth is not a gradual timeline of personal growth, but a sudden recognition of what is already there. Realization is the recognition of the absolute potential that has always been fully present within you. This logic exposes a flaw in almost all traditional spiritual methods, whether they rely on physical yoga, rigid fasting, or strict moral steps. The trap is the effort itself. The act of doing a practice inherently requires a doer. The more you try, the more you feed the ego, creating a feedback loop of effort and identity. Actively trying to achieve enlightenment guarantees failure. The striving itself keeps the ego in charge. Ashtavakra's conclusion is radically disruptive. Realization requires the complete cessation of action. You are not the doer of your actions. You are simply the sakshi, the silent inner witness. Your identity is not the physical body experiencing childhood or old age. You are the unchanging observer watching those phases pass. Once you realize you are only the witness, the entire apparatus of self-improvement vanishes. The need for future timelines or lifetimes of practice falls away. Freedom is your baseline, inescapable nature in this exact millisecond, existing before any effort to achieve it. Truth remains as the objective reality once you find the courage to stand completely still and drop the lens of the self.